utilized or explored the appeal processes in the United States. However, because it is a judgment that has the effect of a final order, we are allowed or permitted to appeal it. But at the moment, we'll have to regroup as a team and reflect on the judgment and see if we can identify grounds upon which the judgment could be appealed, given its impact.
You say that it was an appeal of a judgment that was handed down in the US, but we did not hear any of your prosecutors saying that to the judge or pleading that before the judge. What they did was try and defend their conduct. What are your thoughts around that?
Of importance is the fact that the feeling from the team was that the conduct was above board in the allegations that were made against the investigating officers. Unfortunately, the judge found otherwise. And therefore, it is one of the issues that we'll have to reflect on. If we find a basis, which we're allowed to, that the judgment could be appealed, that determination will be informed by that process. What is important for now is to reflect on it, process it, because like I said, it is a judgment that has the effect of a final order, because we cannot charge her now unless the decision is overturned by a higher court in the event that we take a decision to appeal it.
The judge also found that the procedure in which this extradition was done, it was the executive that was supposed to spearhead this procedure, but the NPA seemed to take charge over all of this. Does the NPA take accountability because of those flaws that happened? Also the misrepresentations, the lies that happened, does it take accountability that it was at fault? This is what led to this, basically Ms. Cholota going scot-free now.
There are two ways I'm going to answer that question. One, if you're saying we must take accountability for the findings made by the judge in circumstances where I make it clear that we'll still reflect on the judgment and see if there are grounds to appeal it, it's not fair. The second part of it, the judge made reference to the Schutz SCA judgment. That judgment, for the record, we have filed an application for leave to appeal against it in the Constitutional Court, albeit on a limited grounds. So we are going to take into account that technicality to see to what extent does it have a bearing on what we would have an appetite to appeal the judgment or not.
Okay. He said that, yes, that judgment, you are still going to appeal it. It hasn't been appealed. The NPA basically was sitting in that case. So it ought to have known that the executive is the one who was supposed to basically lead this extradition process. So is that an oversight? We also saw another oversight when it comes to the charges that were put towards Ms. Cholota. The US said that there are some charges that were not supposed to be put to her, but still we saw them happening in this court. The judge saying that it's a mystery to him how this happened.
The prosecution team has conceded, and you should give them credit for that. It is clinical to concede as a legal officer of the court. That's a demonstration of sincerity and bona fides and integrity on the part of the prosecution team. So let's park that. Let's then move to the Schutz judgment. I've made it clear that the Schutz judgment is being appealed, and therefore at the time that this application for extradition was processed, there was that process. Now, part of the reflection on the judgment, part of the exploration whether to appeal or not, will be informed by our stance insofar as the appeal appetite or process on Schutz is concerned to the Constitutional Court.
But talk to us about that case. You say that the NPA is actually appealing that. How far is it? Because this was not 2 months ago. It was actually a couple of years ago.
When I say we're appealing, it means we have filed the application with the Constitutional Court, but we've not yet been given dates whether the matter is to be argued or whether it will be decided on papers by the Constitutional Court. But we are on record having appealed the judgment of Schutz.
Thank you so much. Iman, that is the...
Thank you so much.
All right, so there you have it, the NPA spokesperson, Mthunzi Mhaga. We called it earlier, saying they're going to study this judgment around essentially the extradition of Muradi Cholota, saying that they're going to study the judgment to see whether or not there are grounds for appealing it. If you're just catching up to the story, the High Court in Bloemfontein has just found within the last 10 minutes or so that Muradi Cholota's extradition from the United States was in fact unlawful, also agreeing with her petition that in fact the High Court itself does not have jurisdiction to try her in the 255 million rand asbestos case. The NPA there conceding that because of this ruling and the effect it has, they actually can't charge Muradi Cholota. She walks scot-free. And they've also come out to say that as far as they're concerned, the conduct of their team, the prosecutorial team in this case, was above board, notwithstanding, by the way, the judge's own sentiments about this. So we'll continue, of course, taking stock of the different implications around this matter.